Here we are. I'm just making sure everything is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It is. We are now in our day number 4 of the 5 days of Money and Magic activation series. And today's topic is called Intuition Access Acceleration for Greater Money with Greater Magic. So, how have you been doing so far with these other the 3 previous days that we've worked on? We worked on your energy and being able to discern when you're picking up energy that is not your own so that you're able to release it and start to feel your own personal power, your own sense of self, where you're not being diffused and tainted and confused about you and who your energy is versus somebody else's energy. And then, secondly, we talked about really being able to have a sense of mission, a sense of what is your fuel, what is it that happens when you are clear about what is important to you, what drives you, what is your mission in this lifetime with regards to your business, with regards to your home life, with regards to you taking care of you. And then we are working on the concept of being on a soul journey together, you and I. A soul journey in that the more that you are aware of how you operate in your business, in your home, in your self view, meaning your self image, the more you get a really good idea of that, the more you are available to bring forth your zone of genius, your necessary steps to bring your work out into the world. And for those of you who are new to this series, my name is Sasha Sabbath, and what I do is I help frustrated, creative, spiritually aware business owners and emerging transformational leaders stop the procrastinating, stop crushing their dreams because they feel like they either can't get what they want or they don't know where to begin. They're scattered or they are disorganized and they are not taking the necessary steps. And then that has a domino effect, doesn't it? It affects your sense of confidence. It affects your sense of credibility. And what does that do? Then that starts to mute your visibility out in the world and your ability to take advantage of opportunities and to ask for opportunities. And so all of this becomes a downward spiral. However, when you start to really look at what is going on at the very root cause of what's bothering you, that pain, that block, then it all opens up and you're able to understand your soul purpose better and you're able to bring this mojo, which was yesterday's topic, into your creative ventures, into how you operate your business, how you operate yourself. And all of this has to do with you having greater money with greater magic. And what greater magic means is your ability to connect your spiritual levels, your intuition, your guidance on demand, not hoping one day you'll get a message and you'll figure it out, but by you absolutely calling upon your intuition at will, a very deliberate inquiry to your intuitive realms and asking for guidance on your decision making, on what it is to create something that is relevant right now for your goals, and all of those kinds of steps. So here we are on day 4. We've built the engine, we've built the foundation, we've built the understanding of how to shift your energy, which was day 3. Shift your energy from however you're resonating now, whatever you're broadcasting now, to reprogram your energy field to create what it is you want in your physical world, in your business, in your relationships, in your health, anything that you want. And so I suggest that if you have not listened to this series yet, definitely go back, listen to days 1 through 3. It'll give you a sense of definitely building an understanding of how to best work with you so that you can create what you want. So today's focus is still coming from the mindset, still coming from the paradigm that that I feel for you is going to be a very strong source of fuel, a battery for inspiration, for motivation, for resilience. And that is understanding that you are part of the collective consciousness. You cannot separate yourself from the things you're observing going on in your respective country and in the world. And this isn't politics. This has nothing to do with politics. This has to do with humanity evolving right now, of which you are definitely a part. So the more you understand the energies that are affecting you, your emotions, your thoughts, your time, your money, the more you're able to navigate with awareness and power, and always keeping your eye on where you're headed, your ideal dream, your ideal life that you are creating for yourself, what I call to succeed in sync with your soul. And now we're bringing in the layer of how to access your intuition quickly. Now, I teach this because as a business and success psychic intuitive and a healer and a soul purpose guide, I have lots and lots of techniques to assist people in removing the blocks and getting that clarity, getting that connection that is soul aligned so that you really know what you want coming from your soul level as opposed to just your head. And so accessing your intuition is something that is absolutely necessary to sort out what is not your truth and what is your truth. So, what I'm going to do is now we're going to go into the tips part of these trainings, and I'm going to give you a 3-step process. It might be 4. We'll see how I'm channeling it from my guidance. But step number 1 in our pursuit of intuition acceleration is to get centered and to clear your mind. So step number 1, what I'd like you to do is just to imagine that you're sitting in the center of your head, whatever that means to you. Basically, you want to imagine that here is the size of your head, and you're going to sit somewhere in the middle. And in that position, I'd like you to just take a moment and get the feeling, get the visual, get the sense of you pulling your attention back from the outer world, and now you're sitting in the center of your head. And you're going to notice that there's a defocusing that takes place because that's what you're doing. You are withdrawing your focus from outer world, pulling you this way into coming in to a calm, centered observer position by imagining that you are sitting in the center of your head. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is there's probably a lot of clutter in there. All the thoughts that you've been thinking all day long, and also thoughts that you may have picked up from others. If you're a sensitive and an empath and a very aware person of what's going on around you, you may have taken in other people's thoughts and beliefs. And that's okay. Everything is awareness. The key is to have tools of what to do. So rather than you living in fear of things happening, you build up your toolkit so that you know how to mitigate, you know how to navigate, you know how to move around whatever is going on in your life in any given moment. And so here's what you do to help clear out the clutter, the static, the noise, the cobwebs, the built up stuff that's in your head. Just imagine that at the back of your skull is like a laundry chute or a mail chute. It's just a conduit that attaches at the base of your head, and it extends out, and you can imagine that right behind you is a beautiful purple flame. In my industry, in my world of working with angels and guides and archangels and spirit teams, the Saint Germain purple flame is the structure to transmute energy, to transmute what you are currently focusing on, to go from a lower vibration to a higher vibration. A higher vibration will allow you to just have access to more of the best of who you are. I have a whole training on that, so I'm not going to go into more detail about what transmuting does, what higher versus lower vibration is. It's all in the previous days of this series. So here we are. You're in the center of your head. That's step number one. Step number two, you've got this, if you imagine at the base of your skull, you've got this conduit that you're going to create with your imagination of whatever color you want it to be. So it's a tube, and that extends from the base of your skull, and it goes, and the other end connects and just pours right into that violet flame of Saint Germain that's right behind you. And so basically, you're just cleaning all that stuff out. And if you want to have fun and get creative, you can imagine that you're getting out some spiritual psychic Windex or some kind of a spray bottle that's going to loosen up all of the dust and the clutter and the accumulated cobwebs, or even imagine that there are piles and piles of paper in your head of beliefs and ideas and information that you're now ready to let go of. It's too much stuff, just like decluttering your house. This is your inner house. And so, step number two, you're going to take stuff, I'm just going to call it stuff, and you're going to just slide it right down that tube, and it's going to go right out that tube into the Saint Germain violet flame, and it's going to get transmuted. But it's not going to be transmuted into anything that's going to create psychic toxins in the air. We don't want to do that. What we're going to do is transmute it so that whatever you're letting go of is transmuted into what I love to call love, light, goodness, and goodwill. Love, light, goodness, and goodwill. Now, what does this have to do with money? And what does this have to do with magic? This is magic. This part here is a psychic, intuitive, energy healing exercise that directs your attention into something you want to get rid of as the form it currently is. And you are calling in with your intention what you'd rather have instead. So, we're going to get to that. So, right now, you're cleaning out the attic. And you're cleaning out the attic so that as you sit in the center of your head, step one, center of head, step two, you're clearing it out. It goes out the chute into the violet flame. Step two, you are now preparing a space so that you can receive your guidance. So step number three is calling upon your intuition. Now, before I go into how to help you phrase something that would trigger opening up to your intuition, there's something that is useful for you to know. We have these channels. They are clairsentient, which is feeling, clairgnosis, which is just knowing, the ideas just drop into your head, clairvoyance, which is seeing, spiritual seeing. And then there's a spiritual feeling, which is sentience. I don't know if I already said that. Clairvoyance, clairgnosis, clairsentience. And then there's clairaudience, where the other remaining ones has to do with something that is less common for people, which is you will get smells. You will get tastes. And this allows you to have a full range of channels through which your intuition, your spirit teams, your soul communicates with you. I was going to say speaks to you, but that's auditory. And you may not have a strong auditory channel. So when you have these different channels working for you, That's where you want to become very sensitive when you're receiving, and you are accelerating receiving your intuition by being calm and knowing what you're going to be looking for in terms of how you will receive your messages. The best way for you to know which channels are really strong is just for you to recall times in the past when you got your intuitive messages, and you did, and you know you did. And just notice how those messages came to you. Did you receive pictures? That would be clairvoyance. Did you hear words? Did you hear anything like maybe music or some kind of sounds? That's clairaudience. Did you feel something? Was there some kind of sensation or a particular emotion that came right in? That's clairsentience. Or did you just know it? You just knew it. It was right there. That's clairgnosis. And if you did have the channels of smell and taste, then go back and see if there is a pattern that when you get certain kinds of messages, there is a certain smell or there is a certain taste. So that's just for you to heighten your awareness of how you communicate with your beloved intuitive spiritual realms. So let's go back to our step 3. Now that you know how your messages are going to be delivered to you, the question is, how are you going to access your intuition? How are you going to trigger your intuition? How are you going to talk to your intuition so that you can get information? And for the purposes of these little mini trainings that we're doing in the 5 days of Money and Magic activation series, I'm just going to suggest 2 ways that you can trigger your communication with your intuition. One is to ask a question. Questions do open up the intuitive communication. And a question could be, and I've said this in the previous trainings, what do I need to know about you? And then you fill in the blank. Or what is important for me to know about? And then fill in the blank. Or is this something that is good for me now? You see, they're questions. Just ask very simple questions. And you can ask more detailed questions, such as, how will I know if fill in the blank is the right thing for me at this time? That's asking for a little more detail, isn't it? So that's one classification of triggers that you can employ to start communicating with your intuition. Another way is to put in, I wonder. I wonder what it would be like if. I wonder if I should fill in the blank. I wonder what it would be like if I do this, fill in the blank. Or I wonder what it would be like if I do that. So that's where you're comparing because you want to make a decision of some sort. I wonder how this person feels about what I said. So these are triggers. And then there is a step number 4, and it actually fits in with what we covered in the previous training. Step number 4 is, now that you have activated, you've knocked on the door of your intuition or communication with your spirit guides, and now you want to receive your answers. You've asked, and now you're going to receive. And so the best way to receive is to ask your question and just sit quietly. However, what you really want to be sure you do is that you put your focus in the center of your head. That will help you to lower the chatter. That will help you to not get caught in all kinds of heady rationalizations, analyses. What if this, but if I do that, all this noise. It will help you to cut through all that and just take some deep, slow breaths. And I covered this in day number 1 of this series. And then be quiet. And if thoughts come up that seem like they are just, what am I going to have for dinner? Those kinds of questions. Let them come up as clouds. And then just let them dissipate like clouds. So you're sitting in the center of your head. You've cleared it out. Step 2. Step 3 is you ask a question. And step 4 is you really reinforce your position of imagining yourself in the center of your head, and then you just receive. So that's your training for today. And as you know, for those of you who've been following all of the previous trainings, you have access to a prize. What I'd like you to do so that you can get your prize is to go on over to my private Facebook group, which is Light Leader Power for Success and Mission Impact. The link for that is in the description of this post. And then look for, excuse me one second. Thanks. And then look for the pinned post at the top of the page where you will see the Facebook Live that we're doing now. And that'll be the thread where you write your highlights. And the highlights are something like you've done the exercise, what really stood out for you in either doing the exercise or anything that I've said, the principles that I talked about here. How to view life, how to view yourself, etc., etc. And so the highlights for you is whatever just comes zooming in as important. That's what I'd like you to please put in the thread, and I will see who I will pick for the winner of the prize that goes along with our day number 4. The other thing is that if you have really gotten something stirred inside of you, where you know you're procrastinating, you know that you're holding yourself back, you know that there's something that is just keeping you much more mediocre than you possibly could be as a blossomed, gorgeous, expanded soul in the world, then let's have a conversation. I've put the link to my calendar in this description. I've also put a link to a survey that is your soul expansion activation survey, so that I can get a sense ahead of time of where your energy is really moving in the direction of. So those 2 links are there for you so that we can get some time together. I only have like 5 more slots this week, and then I've got a few more next week. So let's not waste any time. It's the end of the first quarter. It's really time to seize what 2021 has to offer you. Because here's the thing. As part of the collective consciousness right now, from my perspective, there are 2 major themes that are taking place that are affecting us. Doesn't matter where you're living, it's going on all over the world. And these themes are freedom, your freedom, other people's freedom. And the other theme is thriving humanity. And the fact that humanity must get our attention so that we each in our uniqueness are creating a life, and we are supporting others to create a life where they are valued. We all have value. We are all here, and we all deserve to be here. And so the quality of how we guide ourselves on a day-to-day basis in our businesses, in the offers that we present in our businesses, in the services, in the products that we decide to align with in our businesses, in the relationships that we have in our personal life as well as our professional life, the way that we take care of ourselves or the way we don't take care of ourselves. This is all part of humanity thriving. Because the more we recognize, respect, and augment the decency of how we treat ourselves and how we treat others, the more the collective consciousness is shifting into more and more light. And as for freedom, we want the freedom to do what we want to do when we want to do it. We want the freedom of our time, of our health, of our money, of our relationships, who we can love, who we don't choose to love. You know what I'm saying here. So these 2 themes are working in the background. Even as we do our businesses, even as we have our sales conversations, even as we have our dates where we go out and we have fun with our friends or our significant other, it's all in the background. It's all impacting our energy field, whether we know it or not. And so the more we take a stand as to what we're going to do regarding those themes, you will be surprised the opportunities that will come along so that you can help, so that you can take better care of yourself, of the people you love, and your communities. This that we are doing today of intuition acceleration for greater money with greater magic is all about you knowing the truth, your truth, regardless of what's going on in the outer world. And where money comes in is where there is confidence, where there is creativity, where there is courage, where there is bravery, where there is self love, there is money. Why? Because this world operates on money. And as I said yesterday, it's not about being materialistic, it's just the way it is here on the earth plane. And the magic is you knowing how to partner with your spiritual realms, know how to take command of your thoughts and your emotions, and that you know how to work with your human self in partnership with your spiritual self to have fun and get things done here on the earth plane as a creative, powerful being. So if those are things that you want to do better, if those are things that you want to have greater clarity about, if you are wondering what are some of the details of your soul purpose, then that's exactly the time for you to get a hold of my calendar, fill out your survey, and we're going to have what I call a procrastination elimination and soul success session. So I will see you in the Light Leader group, hopefully. This replay is going to be here in this group as well as in the Light Leader group. And tomorrow is our last day. So do your homework, watch the videos, and I'll see you soon. Have fun with this. This is so exciting, this particular training. Sending you my love. Bye.